What's up, everybody? It's been a minute since me and BK have done a podcast together. So today's a special edition. Want to unlock your inner strength. So BK, always a pleasure to have you, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Right to it.
yeah, man. So kind of catch everybody up. What's been going on out there, and then I got some quotes I want to discuss with you. I think they'll be good jumping off points for today's episode. So just catch everybody up. What's going on out there? I saw that you put out that video. That's probably like 3 weeks ago now. It's pretty cool, kind of calling out the government. But catch us up, man.
Yeah, just you know what? It needed to be done. There was a lot of talk within the gym. The mayor came, or the governor, excuse me, came out and said, everything's closed back down, and the gyms were going to be affected as of a specific date. And I don't watch the news, so I didn't know nothing about this, and it was just all hearsay through members and my coaches. Hey, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So I was just gonna make honestly, just like a video for my private Facebook group. Hey, this is it. And I was thinking, like, why the fuck would I go private? Like, I don't like tiptoeing. I just feel weird tiptoeing around behind something, like I'm doing something wrong or some shit, and I don't want that to be the perception that hey, hush hush, put some shit in the windows, like let's black some shit out. Like that's just that energy comes back. I don't like that, so I just want to be upfront about it. And hey, it is what it is, man. We stayed open. It's the whole point of that was about just being healthy. That's paramount. That should be the main focus is driving exercise and nutrition and mindset, and we're driving fear on the other side. And it's just it's not what I believe in, and it's not the energy that I want to take part in. So I just kind of I'm just standing on the shoulders of giants like Newell strength and saying, you know what, fuck it, let's roll.
Yeah, man. I was happy you did that. It's that's the problem, man. A lot of people try to do this, and I give the ones that are trying to open not just gyms credit, but again, if they're going to tiptoe around it, that kind of, in my opinion, defeats the purpose. Like you have a right to run your business. This is not, and people got to remember, the governors work for us. We're not their little minions. We're not their, they're not dictators. They're elected by the people for the people. And when people realize that we're in charge, that flips the paradigm. And so I appreciate you stepping up like that and doing that. And I saw you had a lot of views, which is good, man, because people need to see that there's people willing to stand up to that, man. And like you said, you did it. We did it back in May. Nothing bad happened. It's all positive energy.
Yeah, it is positive energy. So I hope I don't bring daunting energy right now, but I'm sure we're not going to be talking about this whole time, but it's like, all right, now what? Like, you I don't know. It seems weird. It's like a bully. All right, so like you're bullying, and then finally someone's like, "What? All right, let's roll."
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, all that shit, all that fear, all that. This is what needs to be done. I'm superior. You can't do this. You can do this, but you can't. Like, you're cool. You're cool. You're not cool. Type shit. And then all of a sudden, it's like, man, I've been bullied before. Like, here we go. And then nothing. Like, you don't even send nobody. Like, wait, what's going on? I thought,
Oh, here.
yeah. I didn't get that. So I don't want to bring daunting energy, but this is for all those fucking bullies out there. You ain't shit. Somebody's always going to stand up to you and punch you in your mouth.
Yeah. As soon as you get somebody, bullies don't like courage. They run away from it. As soon as somebody stands up, and that takes me into a quote. I think it's great, relevant for this and everything else. It's a Japanese proverb, and it basically says, fear can only go as deep as the mind allows. And what's been going on, man, has been, they know that through fear they can control, and they're hoping people don't, they just stay in their mind. Because people have this fear, and it controls them, right? Puts you in that reptilian brain, puts you in, as long as my survival's safe, I'll be dictated to as much as you want. I don't care. Take away all my freedoms as long as my survival's safe. And that's what the people, they do with fear. Somebody stands up, such as yourself, all of a sudden it's, wait a minute. Then there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. They can find us here. They could do all this stuff, but that's it, man. So what do you think about that quote? Fear is only as deep as the mind allows.
I mean, it's just so simple. It's just it's like a brilliant and simple quote. Like
Yeah,
fear is paralyzing, and it'll
yeah,
keep you in a paralyzing state. And it's, like, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty simple quote to digest for me, but I mean, for others, like I got a buddy that's going through chemo right now, and he said, this is going to be my best fight yet, BK. And it's like right then and there, it's like, dude, cancer ain't got shit on him. Like, it's, but on the other hand, if you took that and you let fear penetrate into that soul, that cancer probably could get you a lot faster. And,
yeah.
it all starts and finishes between the ears.
It does, man. Fear, we've talked about this. It's imaginary. It's all projection. And you gotta. We all go through it, right? Where it's like, and everybody that's human is gonna feel it at some point, and you gotta check yourself. What am I actually fearful of? You put words to it. You jot it down. Okay, this isn't real stuff. This is all projection. And you think about what's going on with most people when they actually boil it down. It's even if it's fear of judgment, it always ties back to fear of death, fear of dying and leaving. Fear of judgment signifies, okay, we're going to kick you out of the tribe. It's going to lead to a higher chance of you dying, right? And people don't realize this is how the brain works. Now, people have fear of judgment. They have fear of the virus, and it's all fear of death. And once people realize death is a part of life, it's a cycle of life. It's nothing to be feared. And if you're fearful of it, that means you haven't done your work here. You haven't examined your spiritual self, in my opinion. Because no matter what, even if you live to 100, you're going to die. The physical body's going to die.
Yeah, that's great, man. Because I think you summed that up, man. You haven't done enough if you're scared.
Yeah.
Like I know right now with all the letters you've written, your boys and now your daughter, like
Yeah.
you feel very comfortable, and in case shit hit the fan, that your legacy is going to live on, and
Yeah.
they're going to pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great concept, man. It's anticipation, fear is about anticipating, and that's not what we should do. The hardest thing to do is live in the now. I mean, we know, like it's, like, I mean, I was anticipating this. I actually jumped on like the Peloton before and just kind of got my mind right. I was excited because I haven't talked to you in like 2 months. I mean, like we text and shit, but. So just to catch up. But yeah. It all stems to being health is paramount, man. If you're eating the right shit and you are exercising and you are practicing like reading and writing and being creative, it's hard. I don't know, like I don't get those thoughts. I'm not saying I'm fearless, but those thoughts come and go a lot faster for me than others, and I always stem back to being health is paramount.
Right.
Nutrition, the whole spectrum, mind, body, spirit.
Yeah, and in the video you made, you touched on that. Where here's how you know that there's something up for people that are still blind to what's going on. Have you heard any of the public health officials mention exercise, nutrition, sunlight, fasting, sleep? They don't talk about that. It's stay away from people. Stay inside, wear a mask. And that's not health. But so if these were real public health officials, you would think they'd be talking about actual health.
Well, you start knowing, I mean, as a business guy, I mean, you've been in business for what, 10, 11 years now, and you've seen it, right? You've seen businesses, as being a business owner, you see how other businesses run. And as you get older and more mature in your business, you see how other businesses are shitty, and you thought they were like powerhouses, and it stems all the way up. I mean, for instance, our state is so in debt. So, it's tough when you see a leader that's leading, but not leading. He's a so-called leader, but not leading. It's tough to think that he has actually taken courses in leadership or reads the books that I am, more inclined to read. And I know we don't always need to find the same, I guess, to have the same thought, but at least open-mindedness. I think that's a big part of just running a business and a state, and what states elect, and then like health officials, and they're all like, these health officials, I mean, are a lot of them into health? Like,
No, you look
into,
at them, man.
you know,
All you gotta do is look at them. It's like the fat gym teacher. When I used to be a gym teacher, I'm like, who's gonna listen to this person? Kids pick up on that. I really, when a district I taught it, you see plenty of them, and it's like, what is going on, man? This is, you can tell them to do this, but you look like this.
and it's miserable. Like, it sucks. Like, I don't like. I hate to put judgment on it, but it's like like when drama's all up in your life, you're miserable. Like, if like, that's if everything's a problem and there's always an excuse, and there's drama. It's hard when you are working out and you have a clear mind and you are eating right and practicing being mindful. Like, it's very tough to have those thoughts stay in your head. So
Sure.
when people talk about anxiety to me, and I know it's real, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I can't relate. I mean, I can relate. I could feel it for like a minute or two, and then it's like it's
Oh,
gone. It's like I'm on to the next thing. I'm busy. Like I'm bobbing, I'm weaving. Like, I don't know, but I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just not going to fucking close down my doors. And now you start thinking about where all this money is going. We are so in debt, and where's all this money going? It's like you start thinking at the age, like I just turned 40, and all of a sudden I woke up like, whoa, like our city isn't ran that well.
Right.
Like these officials that were elected aren't really that much higher than me on the hierarchy chain, and maybe they don't have the same,
Yeah.
due processes that we do.
Dude, it's you know, you can look at it. I mean, we talked about South Dakota. From what I follow, right? Basically, you have 50 governors controlling 330 million people. 50 versus, so think about that, right? And they rely on fear. And there's only two governors I can think of right now: DeSantis in Florida and Nome, the lady in South Dakota. The two that they're kind of doing their own thing. They're not going along with this narrative. So that's leadership. Everybody else, the people in New Jersey, the people out there, I follow what's going on in Illinois, they're minions. They're not even making the decisions. People are telling them what to do. And you can see that clear as day once you step out of the bubble. You see how these people aren't even making their decisions. Somebody's dictating to them, somebody higher up the food chain, and they're just doing it because they think that they know what's in the know, and they don't even realize they don't even really know what's going on. And it's like the kiss ass, right? They want to get to the next step. They want to be the
Yeah.
next level up, and that's what's going on, man. It's
Well, wouldn't you? I mean, I know you would, right? I know you would, but in perspective, if you're, if you, this isn't a question for you, but hypothetically, if you
yeah,
were in that sort of position, wouldn't you want to make a statement? Because, and I'm probably like this question is probably off right now, but I'm trying to frame it where it makes sense. But wouldn't you want to go almost not against, I guess, against the norm, where you
yeah.
actually are taking into consideration these, X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that's going to be making your state or your schools or whatever you're kind of in charge of better. And it seems like the people are more inclined for, hey, like, let's get back to normality and, without fear. Like, I think a lot of people are kind of sick and tired of.
Oh, they are, but you need more people to stand up. So here's the answer for that, and I can tell you exactly what it is. I've read two books, one on psychopaths, one on sociopaths. I'm not saying, obviously, you can't say all of them, but a large majority of politicians are sociopaths. A large majority, as you go higher up the ranks, are actually classified as psychopaths. So they don't think like normal human beings. They're there to prey on people. You look at you know, yeah, the higher up you go, man. So basically, one in every 25 people that you come across is a sociopath. One in every 100 is a psychopath. But the sociopaths are very drawn into positions of power, very drawn into it. So they don't think like you and I think. They're not, most of them are not there to help people, despite what they say. And all you got to do is look at their actions speak louder than words, right? So I think that's the short answer to that is that they're thinking on this other thing.
Yeah.
And to your point, I want to hit before I forget what you were talking about before. I just reread. It's a short little book. It's the Kabbalion. It's the 7 Laws of the Universe, and I read it in the summer. Just reread it, so now it's sinking in deeper. But one of the laws is the law of rhythm, and I've always believed it's kind of like a pendulum, right? So we're going to have highs and lows. Nobody's immune to that, like you're saying. You're going to feel them. I'm going to feel them. But the thing is, let's say you're feeling really good over here. Now that pendulum's going to swing back. Now, when it comes back this way to the negative, or the lower states of emotion, most people get wrapped up and they get stuck there. Now, if you've been working on your brain a lot and throughout life, and you're, let's say, like a student of life, you develop the ability, when that comes back, you rise to the higher plane of your brain. So the pendulum still swings back, but it's as if you step above this wave that's coming in. It doesn't have nearly the same effect on you. And for normal people that, I call them normal, that haven't done the brain work, they think that's amazing. But it's a matter of working on this. So you step above it, kind of goes beneath your feet, and then swings back. So it really doesn't slow you down. That's exactly what you explained. Most people get swept up in that current, and it's like, takes them out to the sea, and it's this whole process where you feel it coming, boom, step up, come back over here. That's exactly what you explained.
That's awesome. I love that. Student of life, man. That's great, dude. I mean,
yeah, that's it, man. I'll give you one more quote, and then we'll hop on some fasting or whatever. I got a thing I want to pick your brain about with fasting. This is an Einstein quote. It kind of ties into what we said, and I just think it's good for people to hear this. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. And this really just means when you don't question what the narrative is. And that's what you're saying. Like you said, a lot of people just want to get back to normal. What is your gut telling you, people? Just listen to your gut. Something smells fishy, then it's fishy. That's Einstein. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. I think no matter what, you should question it. Just like you in your business, you want people on your team that are going to question you. Otherwise, if you just have yes men, yes woman, you don't want to be surrounded by people like that, right?
Absolutely, man. I think, man, when I get a question, when I get somebody questioning what we're doing, I think it's like, especially anybody, I think it's great, because then they're actually comprehending what I'm putting out there, and they're trying to do the best of, they're asking about like expectations. They're trying to clarify. It's a form of clarity. And yeah, I love that. I think that's the best thing, and without getting defensive. And I think it makes you just that much of a better leader.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. The older I get and the more mature I'm getting with the business, the more I'm involved with talking to the members about what we are doing and what they think. And I think that's a beautiful concept, because we're almost like a private facility now. Well, we're a private facility, and they know that they're paying dues, and their dues are going towards specific things, and in return they're getting this. And I think it's good to talk about that type of stuff. I think it's good to be very honest and say, hey, look, we don't want to get more people in here. We don't want to go to the rate of getting 20 people every month. What we want to do is we want to stay with who we have, recycle and, bring in 10 people on board every 7 weeks or whatever it is. And we're very honest with them. And the cost is this, and I think that's great. And then even with this whole thing that I made, the State of the Union was based on questions, a ton of questions. What are we going to do? You're not going to listen to them. You are going to listen to them. You're going to have Zoom. What do you, and it's like, all right, it's good to clarify. And then also for yourself, for clarity purposes, and it holds yourself accountable, especially if you do what you're going to say, if you do what you say.
Yeah, that's it. Do what you said you would do, man. Interesting observation. I got to dive more into this with fasting. Do the pan. I've been doing my normal routine. So Tuesdays is the morning where I'm in my second day of fast, my 48 every week, right? And I've been doing, Wim Hof. You familiar with Wim Hof, the Iceman? Yeah. I've been doing his, and I'm on week 8 of his program. Something I've been dabbling with for years, and finally this year I was like, I got to do it. I was kind of averse to the cold, but I said, I'm going to do it. But Tuesday mornings when I'm doing the breathing, by far, I can hold the breath sometimes 100% longer than the other days, not even close, like dramatically. And when I'm doing the breathing, I can get into such a state in my mind where the energy is just so much more positive. And that's in the second day of the fast. The other days, I cannot get into the same zone. And there's something there, man, whether it's the blood chemistry or there's just nothing in your system. And so I'm really tapping into the spiritual aspect of fasting. And I see why people would use this in religions throughout history to really tap into something something greater than ourselves.
For real, dude. For real. That's like, it's like, and I'm gonna throw this out there. It's like motherfuckers that are microdosing LSD right now.
Yeah.
They're finding the same exact concept. You're getting the same good. It's not, I don't think, natural, but it's a form of positive energy that you can't get into that realm. There's a spiritual realm. And that's the thing with, when we talk about fasting, now you get me all fired up, is the paramount of health, right? Like, how can you connect with your mind and your body with no spirit inside?
Yeah, man.
How can you? I don't. You have to tap into some sort of spiritual realm to really know what your mind, like, what are your beliefs, not the beliefs of him, or you take them all and then what are yours? But you don't really ask yourself those questions if you're bloated and
no, man, you're drugged up.
You're fucking drugged up. You are drugged up. You're inflamed like a bastard. Your mind is not working correctly. In our point of view, like, if like, you want to be drugged up and stuff, that's cool. Like, that's on you, but don't expect to get to the next level. Like you were talking about that paradigm, like, don't expect to get to that next level. And I'm not saying you have to fast, but you have to be able to tap into what's controlling here and what's controlling there.
Yeah.
There's something in the middle there. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. That's a fucking dope shit.
Yeah, I'm like, man, there's something in this, man. And it's, we were texting last week. You were talking about the dead, Jerry Garcia, talking about Ozzy. These far out thinkers, man. And the more I keep diving into this stuff, and that's a good thing. But as soon as you start piercing that veil and you start getting out of that bubble, and Devin would tell me you got to open it. I'm sure Shay tells you this. As soon as people, and you don't do it for that reason, but as soon as people start thinking or telling you you're a little bit crazy or whatever, you're onto something, because you've stepped out and now you've stepped into reality. Everybody else, like we said, are just drugged, and it's like, man, this dude's weird. He's talking about stuff that it's too far out. I can't deal with it. But then okay, man, all right, I'm onto something, because you're following your spirit, and it's, it's funny in a way. And you can't, most people, as soon as if they do happen to tap into that, they can't take that judgment, boom, snap back into line. I'm going too far. I'm getting too far down this path. Well, if you just keep going, man, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It opens some fucking doors, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's a if you can tap into that, it starts opening up some doors. And like, for me, I have to, honestly, I force myself to get out of like a 48-hour, because it becomes almost addictive.
Yeah.
Like, I can, like, I will push the pace because I'm a challenge. I like the challenges of it, but I also like fucking writing podcasts 2 hours on some shit, and I don't veer off track.
Amazing.
I'm not looking at my fucking phone. I don't give a fuck about emails or people. I don't care. You could say, like, this is my life. I'm going to live it how I want it. Well, do it. Show me. Like, really show me. Like, this is how we are running this. This is how I want my gym to run. Like, this is how, this is truly it's a direct reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
The direct reflection of who you are. And the truth comes out when you start to fucking tap into spirituality, man. Like no other.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, man. It's to me, it's the greatest form of wealth there is. It really is, man. Living on your terms.
You talk about a true rich man wants what he already has.
Yeah.
You got some cool shit going on inside you. That's cool. That's awesome, man. I like that one.
Yeah, it's it,
True
man.
form of wealth.
I think I told you. I got some questions I'll ask you off air too for some stuff I got planned. But and I'm open about this stuff. I think I told you, man. So early summer, me and my boy, I did my first experience with shrooms, right? I always wanted to experiment with getting into this other realm. And it was, that first experience, I went into a little bit of a fearful spot, but the fear was, what I latched onto was Devin and the kids were not coming back. I was in an alternate reality. At my house, they weren't home. And he said, listen, he goes, you got what you needed, man, because you were taking them for granted on some level. Your subconscious is speaking. You have everything you need. It's right here. It's right. And so when they came back, dude, it was a far out thing, man. But it was like, okay, and it's been different ever since. I'm like, I got everything I need. Richest man in the world.
Bro, I am so fucking pumped that I jumped on this fucking call with you, man. Seriously, dude, it's crazy because yesterday, like, okay, so the fasting formula came out, something I've been working on since July, right? And hiccups, you deal with them all week. It's just what we do, right? There's hiccups. And dude, I came to the fucking gym early yesterday before my class, man. And it's gray as fuck around here. Like gray, like outside. You don't see a lot of sun. And the sun was peeking through as I'm coming to my gym. And it was like, I had a cleaning lady at the house. I think this had to do, and I gave her like some Christmas gifts, like a hoodie and some of my CBD and a good check with a tip on it, it makes you feel good about things, and the fasting formula came out, shit like that. And I'm driving and fucking, and I just turned and I fucking like put my hands up, like, thank you. This is what, this is what it's about. Like this, all this shit. And then all of a sudden you have this form of and like you said, like I have everything I need, which is, I didn't think about that. Like that wasn't in my mind, but I was like, hey, I am thankful for life in general.
It's a beautiful thing, man. And it's, it's so easy to be knocked down these days and live in how we started with that fearful state. It's low energy, and that can only connect with you when you're operating on that same frequency. When you move up to this and love and you open the heart, right? It's a different frequency. It can't affect you if we don't let it. And they can't get at you no matter what they do. It's like a different radio station. It's a different reality. And I explained this to Devin. I said, listen, where we're going, it's a different reality than most people are living. That's okay. They're going to think we're weird. It's okay. For me, they're weird. It doesn't matter. I try not to judge them. We got to catch ourselves. We're all human. But that's where they're at. This is where you're at. And I even told Devin, I said, I'm trying in my head to not frame it as I'm up here, me and Devin are here as opposed to these people. No. It's just a sliding scale because this makes judgment. Right? Yeah. It's a sliding scale.
Because then you're no better than the fucking sociopath politicians at that point. You're no better. The thing is, we have to be just aware that others, it's just a different channel. One's R&B and one is fucking, gospel, whatever the fuck.
That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
Different thing, man. It's a different, it's a different in perception.
But if you're in a leadership role, I'm not giving these fuckers, that's the thing is I'm not going to give these guys too much slack. If you're in a fucking leadership role, you better be in tune to all these different fucking stations. I'll tell you that, man. If you are in a leadership role, like a true leadership role, that's pushing, I guess not even pushing the herd, is just clarifying and making sure everybody is heard. And, I don't know. I'm not going to give these guys, too much of a pass. I will give people that aren't in tune to this, that have never heard about any of this, that nobody's ever pushed them for self-help or motivational, anything like that. I will give those guys passes, but nobody else.
And you think about it, right? You have different levels of leadership. You have elected leaders, which to me a lot of times aren't real leaders. They're leaders by title. Then you have ones, like you start a business, you're kind of thrust into it. You didn't start Undisputed to be a leader. You started because you had a passion for something, but now all of a sudden you're a leader. It's two different types of leadership, like William Wallace versus Mussolini, right? Somebody that's a dictator and is kind of elected, that's different. Doesn't mean they're built for leadership.
Hey, William Wallace, here's what's cool about William Wallace is that he grew, like the English didn't take any note of him, right? Because he was so small, right? Yeah. And so they didn't even give a fuck, but what he did is he started recruiting and they started believing. And then he started winning a couple little battles. And then he escaped a ton of different assassinations. Then they send somebody that says, look, dude, it's cool. We're going to give you all this shit, but you got to pull back. You got to retreat. And for him, it wasn't about the women because they offered him women, gold, land, all that shit.
Go.
It wasn't about that. he was gangster, not because he sent the messenger's head back to the king, but because he didn't care about that. It was, instead of me, it was we.
Yeah.
And that's what drove him, you know. It was a more we approach, we approach, you know, and that's the difference. That's the fucking difference, you know.
Lost you right there for a second, man. I froze. You said that's what drove. Instead of we, it was me. Instead of me, it was we. What were you saying right after that? My computer froze.
I said that's the difference. That's the difference in leadership. You know, when you talk about sociopaths and psychopaths that are up there, it's a me-driven world. It's me. It's egotistic. You know,
Yeah.
and when William Wallace, it was about us.
Yes.
He already lost her. He already lost his wife that he had to do behind in secret. You know, that he had to marry in secret, right? Like they're anticipating a family. They're anticipating building back this Scotland, and you know that's the difference. That's what people. It wasn't about compromising. It wasn't. It was like, well, what's best for these guys? So these guys shouldn't be getting raped and tortured and murdered and inhumane, you know, any longer. And he died with a legacy, and people can pick it up where he fucking left off. That's William Wallace was a gangster, man.
Dude, it's like you said, when it's about me, the mission is not bigger than you. When that's your mindset, it's about you. And I think when we, you know, and I really came to this, and you probably did too. There was a lot. I talked to you back in May when we were deciding to open. There was fear of the unknown. But I got to the point, me and Devin were talking. Once the mission is bigger than you, and it is in your heart, once you say, listen, I'm literally willing for my children and other children to die for their freedom. There's nothing the mission's bigger than you. There's nothing they can do to you. Because again, we talked about death. If that's the worst case scenario, you're gonna, you know, if your mind goes that place and you don't fear it, there's nothing they can do to you. There's no fear. And then you can't be stopped. You know, because it's like, okay, and that's when the mission is bigger. Like William Wallace, the mission's bigger than the person, the man, the woman, whoever it is. You can't stop the mission. The mission will live on, even if they take that person out. You know, it continues on, man. It's you know,
Yeah, and you start getting back to who you are. Like all of a sudden the truth comes out of who you are, right? That's like what the character is, like the characteristic trait when nobody's looked, like who you are when you drop fear. I think a lot of characteristic traits are based off of fear. But is that truly you, right? So there's this spirit, there's something in you. There's something in you, but you gotta it's like God didn't give you, like, remember, like the lymphatic system, right? Like the lymphatic system is probably the dopest system we have in our body, but you have to move to make it work. And if you don't move to make it work, you start to just accumulate all the stress and everything, and you can't shit or urinate those toxins out. They stick with you. So God's like, dude, you gotta move. You gotta move because I don't know what, but you know, like you gotta move.
Yeah, you gotta move, man. I already got notes for the next one, man. Cause I gotta run down the street to do a mind map. This was awesome, man. I know we always say that, man, but let's do it next week's Christmas. I know. To the Friday after that, you let me know if you're clear.
Oh, yeah.
5th or whatever that is. And guys, we were talking. We're gonna, you know, we're planning a big retreat, and I think, you know, yeah, and we're maybe thinking doing it this summer out in South Dakota. You know, landed a free out there. So there'll be more details to come as we move into the new year. We'll make it a really cool event, man, and there's no restrictions out in South Dakota.
How dope is that going to be, dude?
That's going to be cool, man. I've always wanted to go there. You know what?
The Fast to Feast.
South Dakota, the Black Hills, man. You know,
for real, man.
Walking around beautiful weather. Listen,
real.
Man. Let me just bring this to a close, dude. Give me one sec.